Over the last few years, India has launched an aggressive geopolitical strategy, heavily leaning into external engagement to expand its global trade architecture. Right now, New Delhi is locked in ongoing negotiations to build out massive trade networks, with lines shooting outward to secure deals with Western powers like the US, the UK, and the European Union. They've already finalized major free trade agreements with nations like Australia and the UAE. The core assumption behind these treaties is straightforward. Policymakers expect that by eliminating border tariffs, they will automatically boost domestic exports and plug the country directly into global supply chains. To see if that assumption holds up, we have to look back at India's first wave of free trade agreements. Over a decade ago, they signed major deals with key Asian partners like ASEAN, Japan, and South Korea. Instead of sparking an export boom, trade with these nations flowed in the opposite direction. The agreements made the market heavily import-driven. Why would a macroeconomic tool specifically designed to expand a nation's export power end up doing the exact opposite? This table breaks down India's trade balance. The ASEAN deficit drops sharply from negative $10.4 to negative $51.2 billion. In Chart 1, India's share of ASEAN's import basket drops from 3.42 to 1.71%. South Korea and Japan show the exact same decline. A crucial metric for modern manufacturing success is Global Value Chain Integration, or GVC. This measures how well a country's industries participate in the multi-step cross-border production of goods. This second table measures that integration. The bright red negative numbers show that India's participation in these global production networks actually decreased with major partners like Indonesia, Japan, and South Korea, even with free trade agreements in place. The data shows a clear reality. Securing market access by eliminating tariffs does not automatically promote participation in global production. When a free trade agreement removes taxes at the border, trade naturally flows along the path of least resistance. For India, that internal resistance is high. Their exporters face severe infrastructural constraints and logistical bottlenecks that slow down production and delivery. On the other side of those agreements are Asian trading partners with massive, highly optimized industrial bases built for rapid export. Because India lacks the immediate capacity to export goods at that same massive scale, dropping the trade barriers creates a one-way highway. The highly optimized partner economies accelerate import penetration into India, overwhelming the domestic capacity. Market access alone cannot compensate for weak industrial capabilities. Instead of acting as an economic weapon, the open borders become a structural vulnerability. Looking back at Mingeli's current strategy, politicians often present free trade agreements as automatic drivers of industrial upgrading. But continuing to negotiate new deals with Western powers without fixing those key internal friction points risks replicating the massive Asian trade deficits on a global scale. India's most urgent trade challenge is no longer about negotiating more international treaties. It's about strengthening its own domestic foundation. To fix this, they have to implement a broader industrial policy framework, direct strategic investment into infrastructure, and execute deep domestic reforms. These internal upgrades are the only things that build true export competitiveness, the kind required to actually survive and thrive in a frictionless trade environment. Swinging your doors open to the global market makes you prosperous if your domestic industries are strong enough to compete when the world walks in.